Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about something that you all want to know and that you all ask me. I'm finally sharing, and that is how I travel so much. I see this question on my Twitter, Instagram comments, YouTube comments, emails. I've seen so many of you ask me about this, and I'm finally sitting down to tell you the journey, how I do it, and some useful tips for you to be able to do it as well. So I'm 21 and I have traveled to 27 countries, which is pretty amazing as I've been to so many different parts of the world. And before I begin, I have to say that I'm truly grateful, because I love traveling and it's not cheap. I have found ways to make it cheap, but that's a whole nother video. But my job allows me to be able to do this because I set it that way. So I thought I'd talk about that and hopefully inspire you guys to get traveling too, and to be able to manifest wherever you want to go. So I began traveling by myself when I was 16, and the first place I went to was to Dallas. My mum had paid for that trip as like a well done because of my GCSEs. I'm not sure what to convert that to for my Americans, but I had got amazing grades. I think I got 5 A's, 3 B's and 2 C's, which I was always considered a below average student, so my mum was really proud of me. I was proud of me. So that was my treat. From there, I began doing Happy Fro Days. The first one was in London, then New York, my mum paid for that. Then I did another round again in 2015 where I went to New York and LA and did another Happy Fro Day tour, and again, my mum paid for that. So shout out to my mum because she literally began this whole journey for me. So now you guys know, I did not start off getting endorsements and sponsorships straight away. I did have to spend my own money, my mum's own money, to be able to travel, but from there it's been an amazing journey, and I'm truly grateful because I live a beautiful life and I'm so blessed, honestly, like so blessed and so grateful. So it got to about when I was 18 and I began working with a lot of brands where they would ask me to travel to events. So one of them being New York with Diva Curl. Then I would get invited to events in Sweden or Luxembourg, different parts of Europe, just to speak on panels or to host mini seminars. And that's when it really began for me. So I was able to travel underneath their funding, but of course it was focused around hair. And at that time I was really crazy about hair. I loved like just being about my big hair, but I loved travel, and it was really hard to merge the two because no matter how many creative pictures I'll take, the focus would still always be on my hair. So I really made a conscious effort that everywhere I went, even if it was for a conference, I would take really creative pictures and street style pictures just to incorporate my love for travel whilst also being a hair blogger. This was how I was able to branch out into the travel world, which by the way isn't very open and welcoming to women of colour. Even though like in the beauty industry and in the hair industry we've been able to open a lot of doors, in the travel industry it's still very much predominantly white. So when I do get invited on these trips, I'm so grateful because I know that I'm opening the door for another influencer, and I always try to create the best content that I possibly can so that they will be able to trust us and acknowledge our efforts. So I do have to put that out there that it's not an easy industry to get into, but once you do, you just have to make the conscious effort to also tell the brands about other influencers who are women of colour. It's so important to empower each other in that market. So my recent trip was to Dubai, and a lot of you asked me on Instagram like how I was able to do that, and I was invited by the tourism board to create content. So most of these trips, all of these trips, I get invited to different countries, or I'll go to different events or things like that, and in exchange for me going, I will have to create either a YouTube video, or I'll have to make Instagram posts, and I'll have to make Instagram stories, and they'll give you a contract to say what you have to create in exchange for the trip. And it's such an amazing opportunity. It can be very intense sometimes because you want to enjoy the country, but at the same time you also want to live in the moment and create the best content. So it has its amazing perks, but then also you're less likely to really unwind and sit still because you're so focused on getting the best content possible. So bear that in mind for all of you who want to get into this industry, that it's not all like roses and glam. Sometimes you're up really early in the morning to get the perfect shot so that there's no people around, or you're literally back to back roaming around the city with like 5 different outfits in your car because you need to get 5 different looks to get the 5 different posts. So it is very, very intense. But for those of you who want to get into the industry, I would definitely say to begin your journey on social media. If you don't like using social media for your own sake, but you just like to watch other people's vlogs and just watch like your favorite influencers, which is totally fine, then perhaps consider how you can volunteer. So whether that's, if you've always wanted to go to America, volunteering at Camp America, or if you love Mother Nature, maybe volunteering at an orphanage, or volunteering with animals in like Bali, Indonesia, like, or places in Africa, places in Asia. They have loads of different companies where you can go and volunteer, teach English, teach kids. So there are loads of different routes for people who don't want to do the YouTube videos and stuff but still want to experience that. So for me, how I have done it is obviously by building this platform. Sometimes I see a lot of you message me to ask how I do it and if you can do it too, but of course a lot of these brands nowadays look for people with an audience and with a reach. So if you do want to start traveling, then maybe just buy a ticket to your local city. Like if you live in Chicago, maybe visit New York and you have all the scenery there. Or if you live in London, get a train to Paris and just do loads of really creative and fun shoots and manifest that they'll be seen by the right people. It's important to also use hashtags when you travel. So when you go somewhere, say if you're in Paris again, just in the hashtags put Paris, put the geo tag, tag the Paris tourism board, an official page, so that they can see your work and repost you, and you're able to build that relationship and start a conversation. It's important to also make sure that your image is really important. I'm not speaking about being perfect or your physical aesthetics. I'm just speaking about how you carry yourself. So if you're to go to India, for instance, wear something, as my mum always says, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So everywhere you travel to, make sure that you kind of follow the dress code, so you present yourself in a respectable way, so that when you do post these pictures, tourism boards and hotels are able to see you have class and sophistication, but you're also a really cool person. So it depends on the type of branding that you want to share online, but just make sure that you are cautious of it and you don't post as many pictures that people might look and say, oh, actually she wouldn't be a great fit for our brand. Please don't allow numbers to affect you in the beginning. When you do start, it is hard. When I made my shift from hair to travel, it wasn't easy. It still isn't, because people always love to see your face and to see whatever it is that you are traditionally used to sharing. So when I did make that switch into travel, people were a bit like, what's going on? But just keep pushing through, because you will attract the right audience in due time. What's really amazing about the industry is a lot of brands and hotels are open to collaborating. So for instance, when I went to Bali, all of my accommodation was free. All I had to do was post in exchange for that. But of course, you have to make sure that you are consistent with your posting and that you are reputable and able to showcase your professionalism within that industry. When reaching out to hotels, you have to be really careful and really smart with your wording. Make sure it's professional, make sure you address them correctly, and make sure you're able to tell them in one simple email what it is you can offer and your audience and all of that good stuff. So I recently spoke with one of my friends, Poppy, who's a photographer, and she took pictures for a hotel in the east of Africa in Kenya. And during her stay, the hotel actually told her that a lot of bloggers had been reaching out and they would be asking for the most crazy things. Please do note, when you are traveling and you want hotels to collaborate with you, it's really important to understand that for them, they are investing money in you. So sometimes your post might not be beneficial to them right away and people might not book a stay right away. But with that being said, people will now know when they visit Mozambique, when they visit Brazil, they know to stay where you mentioned because you presented it in such a way that was inviting, welcoming, and also affordable. So don't ask hotels for the most crazy things. They can't give you a 10-night stay in exchange for one post. You have to be reasonable, and you also have to look at how you can benefit them and how they can benefit you. Whereas I spoke to a PR within one of the biggest hotels in the world, and they said that they look at people who are professional, who take professional images, and who present each country they go to in a positive and really vibrant way. So it's important to also find hotels that are aligned with you and your style. So going to a hotel that maybe has a really cool edgy and city vibe that will align with your feed and the type of images you make. I would be more likely to stay in a hotel that has nature and plants and bright colors, because that's aligned with the type of images I take as well. Please understand that you have to be respectable as well in the hotel world, as they are ultimately giving you free stay, which is so amazing and saves so much money. So just make sure that you're offering something that would be of benefit to them. Now, as for flights and stuff, I have not cracked the code to get a free flight, so I cannot give you guys that one. When brands have flown me out to different places around the world, so for instance, if a brand flew me out to, I don't know, Mexico, I will then look to see how much a flight is from Mexico to Miami or Mexico to Nicaragua or something like that. So I sometimes use these trips to my advantage to be able to roam around the city. So just make sure, guys, that you now kind of create like a mood board and a mind map for your branding if you are starting out and you really want to get into the travel world. Also understand that you won't get amazing deals in the beginning just because it's such a saturated industry, but stay true to yourself. Don't go above and beyond just to get the perfect picture. Sometimes the most candid shots are the best, so don't put so much pressure on yourself. And also find a photographer that is aligned with you and understands the type of angles and the pictures that you like. So sometimes, and most times when I travel by myself, I either find a photographer in a city that I'm going to by speaking on Instagram and saying looking for a photographer in here or there, and people always DM me and send me recommendations. I'll look at their work and see who's aligned with me, or I'll ask someone who works at the hotel to help me take pictures, or even people on your travels. The best way to be able to do that is to make them stand in the place you want your picture and then go and take a picture of that, and then wait there, and they'll come, and then you show them and say, I want it like this, just click on my skin so that I don't turn white, or so that it doesn't get darker, because the iPhone does that a lot, where it turns your whole face white and then the background is in detail and you're just a ghost. And once you've done that, then run back to the place exactly where they stood and then just tell them to take loads. Literally say, take loads. And you can even put the sound on so that you can hear when they've taken a shot, so you know when to change your pose. It sounds so crazy for those of you who may not be in this world and who are like, just enjoy each country, but of course we all want to take amazing pictures and get the best of the best for the gram. I have so many photo editing like tips and tricks, but if you guys want to see a video on that, please do let me know. But I didn't want to go on too much of a whole tangent and just talk about loads of different things. But just know that you will be absolutely fine in your journey of building yourself as a travel blogger or whatever you want to be, and just do not let numbers bring you down, and just have fun with it, and also like work with other creatives and maybe reach out to other bloggers in each place you're going to, meet with them. They can take you to all the hotspots and the cool places. Don't try to go to a country and take the same picture everyone else has taken. Just take whatever you feel at the time when you're there, because I find that this can sometimes bring you down if you don't get the shot that you saw this blogger with 1 million followers take. Just take your own unique style. You do not need the most professional and the best equipment. An iPhone got me so far and it still does. So yeah, just use what you have and make the best out of it. So I hope that helped you guys to understand a bit more about my whole like why I travel so much. It's literally just been such a blessing and such a beautiful journey, and again I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to you guys for watching, because if you don't watch and support, then I won't be here. So I'm really grateful to all of you, because without you I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So thank you very, very much. But I'm gonna go now. It was lovely speaking with you guys, and if you want to know any more about that whole industry, maybe about photo editing and all that good stuff, then please do let me know. But be sure to follow me on Instagram, Near the Light. Hold on tight. And on Twitter, Near the Light as well. Facebook, Near the Light. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon, and thank you so much for tuning in. Bye guys.